Have you ever wondered why your plans seem to fall apart the moment you share them? Why opportunities suddenly disappear? Why your motivation fades? Why the excitement you once felt somehow vanishes after telling everyone what you're about to do? It's a question many people never stop to ask, but the Bible has a powerful perspective on this. It teaches us something that feels almost unnatural in today's world. Keep your cards close to your chest. Move with wisdom. Protect what God is building in your life. Because sometimes the quickest way to delay a blessing is to expose it before it's time. Think about a seed for a moment. Before it becomes a mighty tree, it spends time hidden beneath the soil. Nobody applauds it. Nobody notices it. Nobody celebrates it. Yet beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Life is growing. And in many ways, your purpose works the same way. Not every dream needs an announcement. Not every vision needs an audience. Not every assignment from God needs public approval. Because some seasons are meant for building, not broadcasting. Some seasons are meant for preparation, not promotion. And some of the greatest breakthroughs God has planned for your life will require you to move in silence before He allows you to move in power. So if you've ever felt like God is calling you into a quieter season, if you've ever wondered why He seems to be pulling you away from the noise, or if you're carrying a dream that feels too precious to expose to the wrong people, then stay with me until the end, because what we're about to discuss could completely change how you approach your goals, your relationships, your faith, and your future. Why do we tell people about our next move before we've even taken the first step? Why do we reveal our vision before we've built the discipline to protect it? Today, I want to have an honest conversation with you. Not a lecture. Not a motivational speech. Just a real conversation. Because I believe someone listening right now is in a season where God is asking them to be quiet. Not because they're weak. Not because they're losing. Not because they're failing. But because they're growing. And growth often happens in silence. There are seasons where your greatest strength isn't speaking. It's staying silent. There are seasons where your biggest breakthrough isn't being seen. It's being hidden. There are seasons where your greatest achievement isn't proving people wrong. It's becoming the person God called you to be without needing anyone's validation. And if you're in that season right now, this message is for you. Can I tell you something that took me years to understand? Not everyone deserves access to your journey. Read that again in your heart. Not everyone deserves access to your journey. We live in a world where sharing has become normal. Every thought, every goal, every achievement, every setback, everything gets posted. Everything gets announced. Everything gets discussed. But sometimes the greatest thing you can do for your future is keep it private. Because when you expose something too early, you expose it to opinions. And opinions are dangerous when you're still building confidence. You tell someone about your business idea. They laugh. Now you're questioning yourself. You tell someone about your fitness goal. They make a joke. Now you're discouraged. You tell someone about your dream. They don't understand it. Now you're doubting it. The problem wasn't your dream. The problem was who you shared it with. Not everybody can see what God showed you. Not everybody can understand what God is building inside you. And that's okay. Because God didn't give the vision to them. He gave it to you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is seeking approval from people who were never assigned to their purpose. Listen carefully. You don't need everybody to understand. You don't need everybody to agree. You don't need everybody to clap for you. You only need to remain faithful to the assignment. That's it. Because the people who laugh today may be the same people who applaud tomorrow. But if you depend on their applause, you'll also be controlled by their criticism. And that's a dangerous way to live. I remember a season in my own life when I became excited about a new goal. I had this huge vision. I couldn't stop talking about it. I shared it with friends. I shared it with family. I shared it with almost everyone around me. The funny thing is, talking about it felt good. Every time someone said, "Wow, that's amazing," I felt motivated. But something strange happened. The more I talked about it, the less I actually worked on it. I was getting the emotional reward without doing the actual work. Months passed, and I realized I had become addicted to discussing the dream instead of building it. That realization hurt. Because I discovered that announcing a vision can sometimes create the illusion of progress. And illusions are dangerous. From that day forward, I changed. I stopped announcing every move. I stopped seeking validation. I started working quietly. And for the first time, I noticed something. My results started speaking louder than my words ever could. Maybe you've experienced something similar. Maybe you've talked more than you've built. Maybe you've explained more than you've executed. Maybe you've shared more than you've developed. That's you. Don't feel ashamed. Just learn the lesson. Protect what you're building. One thing that fascinates me about Jesus is how often he avoided unnecessary attention. Think about it. The Son of God had every reason to announce himself, yet many times he chose silence. After performing miracles, he often instructed people not to tell anyone. He understood something powerful. Timing, purpose, focus matters. In Matthew 6 verse 6, Jesus said, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen." Notice the pattern. Close the door. Private. Hidden. Unseen. Some of the greatest things God does in your life happen behind closed doors. Not on a stage. Not on social media. Not in public. Behind closed doors. That's where character is built. That's where discipline is developed. That's where faith grows. That's where God transforms you. The world celebrates visibility, but God often works through hidden preparation. And here's the truth. Everybody wants the crown. Few people embrace the cave. Everybody wants the platform. Few people embrace the process. Everybody wants the spotlight. Few people embrace the shadows where growth actually happens. But the shadows are where strength is developed. And strength developed in private becomes confidence in public. So if you've been feeling isolated lately, if you've been feeling hidden, if you've been wondering why your season seems so quiet, maybe it's not punishment. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe God is building something inside you that cannot be rushed. Let's talk about something most people don't realize. Every conversation costs energy. Every explanation costs energy. Every argument costs energy. Every attempt to convince people costs energy. And the truth is, many of us are exhausted not because we're doing too much work, but because we're doing too much explaining. Can I ask you something? Why are you trying so hard to convince people about what God already showed you? Why are you spending hours defending a dream that only requires your commitment? Why are you trying to make everybody understand a calling they were never meant to carry? The older I get, the more I realize something. Mature people don't announce every move. They make the move. Immature trees make the most noise when the wind blows. Strong trees stay rooted. And there is a lesson in that. A person who constantly needs to announce their progress often becomes distracted by the reaction. A person who quietly works becomes focused on the mission. Focus is one of the rarest commodities in today's world. Everyone wants your attention. Everyone wants your opinion. Everyone wants your response. But your future depends on your ability to protect your focus. You cannot build something extraordinary while constantly responding to distractions. You cannot hear God's voice clearly while listening to everybody else's opinions. You cannot grow into your purpose while trying to satisfy every expectation around you. Sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is wisdom. Sometimes silence is strategy. Sometimes silence is spiritual solitude. Because not every battle needs a response. Not every criticism deserves your attention. Not every misunderstanding requires an explanation. Some things are better left unanswered. Let your results answer. Let your consistency answer. Let your growth answer. Let your life answer. There is a powerful lesson hidden in the story of Joseph. When Joseph was young, God gave him dreams. Beautiful dreams. Powerful dreams. Dreams about his future. Dreams about leadership. Dreams about purpose. Dreams about destiny. And what did Joseph do? He told everybody, including people who were already jealous of him, including people who couldn't handle what God was showing him, including people whose hearts weren't prepared to celebrate his success. The result? Resentment, betrayal, opposition, and pain. Now don't misunderstand me. Joseph's brothers didn't stop God's plan. Nobody can stop what God has ordained. But Joseph's journey teaches us an important principle. Not every revelation needs immediate publication. Sometimes wisdom means waiting. Sometimes wisdom means protecting the vision until it develops roots. Imagine planting a seed today and digging it up tomorrow to show everyone, then digging it up again next week, and again the week after. Eventually that seed dies. Not because it lacked potential, but because it was exposed too often. Many dreams die the same way. Not from lack of ability, not from lack of opportunity, but from overexposure. Protect your seed. Protect your vision. Protect your growth. Not everybody needs constant updates. Some people only need an invitation when the work is complete. Can we be honest for a moment? Most people love motivation, but very few people love discipline. Motivation feels exciting. Discipline feels boring. Motivation makes you feel powerful. Discipline requires sacrifice. Motivation gets applause. Discipline often happens alone. Yet discipline is what changes lives. Nobody sees the early mornings. Nobody sees the late nights. Nobody sees the prayers. Nobody sees the tears. Nobody sees the moments you wanted to quit but kept going anyway. Those moments happen in private. And that's exactly why they matter. Private discipline creates public success. The athlete trains in private. The musician practices in private. The entrepreneur works in private. The preacher studies in private. The strongest parts of a person's life are usually invisible. People see the harvest. God sees the planting. People see the victory. God sees the preparation. People see the breakthrough. God sees the process. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe nobody notices your effort. Maybe nobody sees your growth. Maybe nobody understands how hard you're fighting. But God sees it. Every prayer. Every sacrifice. Every act of obedience. Every step forward. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is forgotten. Nothing escapes His attention. There is a quote that says, "Work hard in silence. Let success make the noise." Simple, powerful, and true. The reality is, your future doesn't care about your announcements. Your future responds to your actions. You can talk about writing a book for 10 years. Or you can sit down and write. You can talk about starting a business. Or you can start. You can talk about changing your life. Or you can change it. Talking feels productive. Building creates results. And many people remain stuck because they confuse conversation with progress. A goal discussed 1,000 times is still unfinished. A goal quietly pursued becomes reality. So here's a challenge. For the next season of your life, spend less time talking about what you're going to do. Spend more time doing it. Less explaining. More building. Less announcing. More executing. Less convincing. More becoming. Because the world is filled with people who make promises. The world is transformed by people who keep them. Let's talk about David. Before he became king, he was a shepherd. Before the crown came the field. Before the palace came the pasture. Before the public victory came private preparation. Most people know David for defeating Goliath. But very few people talk about the years before Goliath. The lonely years. The hidden years. The unnoticed years. While others were being celebrated, David was tending sheep. While others were receiving attention, David was developing character. While others were chasing recognition, David was building a relationship with God. And that's where many people lose patience. They want the Goliath moment without the shepherd season. They want the platform without the preparation. They want the reward without the responsibility. But God doesn't work that way. He prepares people before He promotes them. He develops character before influence. He builds integrity before visibility. And if you're in a hidden season right now, hear me carefully. Your hidden season is not a wasted season. It is a training season. It is a strengthening season. It is a preparation season. God is teaching you things in private that will sustain you in public. Because if your character cannot carry success, success will destroy you. That is why God often develops people in silence before revealing them to the world. Now, I want you to think about something. What if this quiet season you've been complaining about is actually the season that changes everything? What if the silence is not God ignoring you? What if it's God preparing you? Because here's something I've noticed. Most people pray for greatness, but very few people pray for the process that creates greatness. We ask God for success. We ask God for influence. We ask God for elevation. But we rarely ask for patience. We rarely ask for discipline. We rarely ask for the strength to endure hidden seasons. Yet those hidden seasons are where greatness is born. The truth is, Nobody becomes exceptional overnight. The world sees the performance. God sees the preparation. The world sees the victory. God sees the years of obedience. The world sees the promotion. God sees the private sacrifices. And that's why you cannot judge your current season by what you can see. You have to judge it by what God is building. Because God is always building something. Even when it feels like nothing is happening. Even when progress seems slow. Even when the days feel repetitive. Even when nobody notices. God is working. Can we have an honest conversation? One of the biggest battles of our generation is the need to be seen. People don't just want success anymore. They want visible success. They don't just want progress. They want everyone to know about their progress. And that desire can become dangerous. Not overnight, but eventually. And that's where many people quit. They quit because they don't see immediate results. But growth rarely announces itself. Growth happens quietly. A tree doesn't become tall in a day. A river doesn't carve a canyon overnight. A strong character isn't built in a week. Everything meaningful requires time. Everything meaningful requires consistency. Everything meaningful requires patience. One thing I've learned is that everyone admires strength. Very few people appreciate the battles that created it. They see the confidence. They don't see the insecurity you overcame. They see the success. They don't see the failures. They see the discipline. They don't see the temptations. They see the faith. They don't see the nights you questioned everything. That's why you should never envy someone else's results. You have no idea what it cost them. And you have no idea what God is teaching you through your own journey. Some of the strongest people are not strong because life was easy. They're strong because life forced them to develop resilience. And resilience is built in private, not in public. Nobody watches you build resilience. Nobody applauds while you're developing endurance. Nobody celebrates while you're learning patience. Those victories happen internally first. Then eventually they become visible externally. That's why your hidden season matters. Because the person you're becoming is more important than the attention you're receiving. One thing that always amazes me is this. Jesus spent approximately 30 years preparing for 3 years of ministry. Think about that. 30 years hidden. 3 years visible. 30 years preparing. 3 years performing miracles. 30 years becoming. 3 years being seen. If the Son of God embraced preparation, why are we trying to skip it? If Jesus wasn't in a hurry, why are we? Maybe the delay is developing you. Maybe the waiting is strengthening you. Maybe the silence is maturing you. Maybe God knows that what you're asking for requires a stronger version of you. And instead of simply giving you the blessing, He's preparing you to sustain it. Because receiving something is easy. Keeping it is another story. Anyone can achieve success. Not everyone can handle success. Anyone can gain influence. Not everyone can manage influence wisely. God isn't only concerned with giving you the blessing. He's concerned with making sure the blessing doesn't destroy you. That's why preparation matters. That's why silence matters. That's why privacy matters. Because hidden seasons produce strong foundations. And strong foundations create lasting success. So if you're currently in a season where nobody notices your effort, if you're in a season where progress feels slow, if you're in a season where God seems to be working behind the scenes, don't despise that season. Don't be too quick to announce the dream to people for applause. Because what God is developing right now may become the very thing that changes your life forever. This is Selah. Not a place of perfection, but a place of reflection. And in reflection you find direction.